Boys and girls, welcome back to the Commercial Real Estate Starting from Scratch podcast with me, your host, John Kleisch, on episode number 25. Wow, 25 episodes, kind of a mini milestone episode, if you will. Cool that it's been going on for this long. I know when I started it, I kind of just went with it, and cool, 25 episodes, here we are. So if this is your first time tuning in, really appreciate you listening to the episode and the podcast. Would love to hear how you stumbled across this podcast. Speaking of which, I mentioned this last week again. I do have a way to send me messages through the podcast. In the description below, there is a link. It says, message me here. Message me. I want to hear how you found out about this podcast, and just say hi, introduce yourself, say what's up, ask me any questions you want. If you have any suggestions on episodes where you want me to talk about specific things, I would love to hear on what you guys want to hear, because frankly, I don't know. So, again, back to the first timers here. In this podcast, I am documenting my journey from $0 of commercial real estate owned is when I started the podcast up until today, which is now February 25th, 2026. I'm about 6-7 months deep into commercial real estate, and I own 2 buildings in the greater Phoenix metro area. One is an office building in Sun City, Arizona, and the other is an industrial building in Glendale, Arizona. Both of those values together combined for about $2.5 million. The value of these will happen to fluctuate greatly over the next couple of months. If you have been listening, you know why. And if you haven't been listening, you'll find out. So, again, thank you all. I really appreciate you overall. Again, we're still on that upward trajectory of every week. We're getting more and more listens, more and more downloads. In fact, one thing I know I did want to check to see if we are fully worldwide. I need somebody in South America to download an episode, and we are still at 0. For some reason, we have not hit South America. It's the only continent left that we have not been listened on. So would love it. If you know anyone in South America, for the love of God, send them just an episode and say, hey, just download this so John will stoo-foo about talking about South America. So, all right, back to business. There's about 4 or 5 different topics that I could talk on. I'm trying to keep these episodes within 30 minutes. I will tell you one thing that we are not going to go over today, and that is evictions. It's eaten up not only my life, but the podcast for the last probably 3 to 4 weeks in a row. I do have an update for you, and the update is that I will do another podcast on the eviction and keep you guys up to date. I feel like we've beaten that to a dead horse. I do have some updates, and we will do a whole podcast dedicated to that, maybe even another one, depending on how everything pans out. So we'll talk about Thunderbird, because Thunderbird has just kind of been sitting in the background. I know I've touched on it a little bit. I've done like a split episode on updates on both, and I really feel like this one deserves a little bit more attention, or Thunderbird deserves a little bit more attention. So this is the office building that we bought late December, early December, early December, late November-ish, something like that. To be honest, I completely forget. Somewhere around that time, right? We've owned it for a few months now. I remodeled it. I got it done in like 37 days. And I finished it right before Christmas. So it must have been mid-November. Yeah, mid-November is when we closed on it. And I get a letter in the mail from a law firm. And I'm like, oh, great. Open it up. Hey, this is, and I knew what LLC it was, so I knew what building it was for. Hey, this is your HOA. You owe us $15,000. And it's like, what HOA? Because we were not aware of any HOA when we bought this building, notified from the sellers, or title did not find any HOA. So A, we got a bill for $15,000. B, a surprise that we have an HOA to begin with. And we recently found out, I think I mentioned this on one of the podcasts, that it's $995 a month. And I'm like, this is a normal building in a normal parking lot with other normal buildings. It's not overly nice. It's definitely not bad. The place is well taken care of. I had to like paint the outside and take care of a bunch of stuff, so they're not even taking care of that. And our lawn, that's not even mine. It's the front lawn that's like next to the building. The building that we own is literally like 3 or 4 feet outside of the building, and that's it. None of the other property is ours. They stopped cutting our grass. I don't know when. However, now it's just literally fully weeds growing. So to charge $1,000 a month and not even cut the grass is just completely asinine. So we got that and talked to my partner John about what are we going to do, and ultimately we have many options. And I think I brushed on this before, maybe not, but we have the option. And also, we did talk to the HOA and confirmed the sellers absolutely knew about the HOA. The guy's like, I spoke to people that owned it. They were well aware. So that's another thing too. Options overall, we haven't spoken on this in great detail, and I'll kind of wrap that up at the end. What I think will most likely happen. So does it break the deal? No, it doesn't. Does it make it a lot worse? Hell yeah, it does. $1,000 a month means, hey, Big Poppy over here is going to make $1,000 less, which sucks, on cash flow. B, or two, whatever I started on, at 7.5 cap, $12,000 annually of revenue. That takes off $160,000 worth of value on that building. We have this building could be worth 1.5 once it's rented out. So now 1.34, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. So that blows chunks. So it doesn't blow the deal. Good thing is we bought this thing for so dang cheap. However, it's like you say that, and then more things continuously get added on, like the HOA, like the fire alarm service that we'll talk about here. And then offering now, since the office market is so soft, we have to offer a full service, which is utilities included, janitorial included, and we have to replace light bulbs and doorknobs and squeaky this and leaky this. That, you add up all of those things together, that's a $2,000, $2,500 a month less than we were initially planning on, which initially we were planning on cash flowing like $7-8 grand a month from this thing. So it definitely does make the deal worse. Does it make me not want to buy this deal anymore? Honestly, no. Would I have bought would I have bought this building knowing that it wasn't $1,000 HOA? Probably not. Probably not. So options: A, suing the seller for, I don't know. I don't even know what that would be for. Maybe the $160,000 that we can make a case on that we thought maybe we could sue them for something else. I don't really know. Title, this slipped by title too, so that's why there's title insurance, right? They will probably at least pay that $15,000 in liens that were not even from us, I'm assuming, which should totally come from the seller. But I know that's, I think they're working on that. And then basically we can get our money back is another option as well. And maybe there's a third or a fourth option where we can sue everybody, and I don't know, basically where that ends up. So not at this point in time, we're not really going aggressive on suing anybody or whatever. We're just continuing on with the path with the hopes of getting this place leased up. And then now with everything that's going on, depending on the rate and the cash flow, get this place leased up and then just sell it and then move on, right? Would probably be the most simplest thing. Or get it leased up and just keep it. And if it works and it makes sense and it makes a few grand a month, great, cool. We'll do that. So overall, I'm not too worried. I'm not like losing sleep over it. In fact, I rarely think about it. I didn't even tell my wife about it until like a couple days ago, and she's like, "What?" But so nothing I'm overly concerned about. It just kind of sucks overall. So other updates on Thunderbird, we did have a nationally credited tenant fly in. He was checking out a bunch of different properties. He flew in, checked out a bunch, I think 5, 6, 7, 8. And we got really good feedback after his trip. They emailed my broker and said that they liked it, and we made the top 3. So they nixed a bunch of properties, and now they're just thinking about the 3 properties that they do like. They're not sure if they want the whole spot. We can definitely work with that. I know that John and I, my partner on the deal, looked at the blueprints and sat down, and we could build 2 walls and 1 door, and we could block this place into 3 separate units. So renting 2,500 square foot with basically 5 offices each, as opposed to leasing a 6,400 square feet office, 30. So it would be like what, 2,100, 2,200 square feet offices. Not bad at all. So the numbers make sense. In fact, we would actually make a little bit more, and the utilities would be irrelevant because it'd be a full service lease anyway, so having separate meters wouldn't matter at all. So that's a really cool option. And then depending if the new tenant does want to sign a lease with us, we'll accommodate whatever they want and then figure it out from there. It'd be great to get 1 tenant in there and then just be done with the whole thing. That would be fantastic. So waiting to hear back on that. I'm not holding my breath, even though we got good feedback from the tour. I told the broker to, hey, put that listing up there and make it known that, hey, we can split this place up into three different parcels or 3 different units that have about 5 offices each. And I think that would be a great little deal. So waiting to hear back on that. Overall, it was fantastic just to get somebody to view the building and have someone raise their hand, because when you're sitting there and you're not getting any feedback, you're not getting any showings. If you've been a flipper or a wholesaler, you know that feeling. It is not the best, right? Because then I knew this wasn't going to be something that would get leased up fast from the get. Market soft. The area is a unique area. I would say that it's not slower. Well, okay, let me say that again, because it is slower. It's slower. However, the area overall, the vacancy rate in the area is pretty good. I think it's like 6%, something like that. So 94% of offices are leased up, which is positive. So it isn't an older person part of town, so it's not like everyone's knocking down the doors to come here. However, I feel like in the next couple of months, we will finally get some tenants in there and get everything going. And I think it'll be a great area overall. Once we get it cash flowing, it'll be a great asset to hold for a while. And if not, whatever, we can sell it. That's a whole nother discussion for another time. Right now, the focus is get this place leased up, get it stabilized, get it cash flowing. And for the love of God, we can get this thing onto a conventional commercial note instead of paying the $7,000 something dollars or the $245 a day in interest that I'm paying now. So that's what we got on Thunderbird. Little things popped up this week. I've been getting blown up by this national fire company, and I just thought it was a scam. Not a scam, but just they were blowing me up. And I was blocking them, and I was like barely listening to their messages. I was throwing their letters out. And then finally I got a certified piece of mail from them saying, hey, dude, we were the ones that were servicing your fire alarm before. And I was like, okay, I'll just stick this in my folder and deal with it later. I literally minutes after I get that letter, I get a call from my current tenants that are there in the other side of the building. Hey, John, your fire alarm is going off. And I'm like, gee whiz, I wonder why. Turns out when it's funny because this was the same day that we did the showing. So I'm just going, oh, wonderful. We got this guy flying in from out of town to view this property, and there's a fire alarm going off, and he's going to have to view the place with this fire alarm. And I'm just going, oh my God, this is going to not a good look, not a good look overall. But come to find out, it was just I had my current tenant go over to the building and see if he could push some buttons for me. And I didn't hear like the alarm going off. I'm like, what the heck's going on? And I thought the fire alarm was going off. Well, comes to find out, it's not the fire alarm itself. There is an alarm in the control panel room, which is our elevator service room that has like our breaker box and everything like that, which has a battery beeping noise to let you know that the batteries on the unit are dying. So it's like beep, beep type of deal. So not an overall huge deal. However, it is right next door to my current tenant's office, and it's annoying. You can definitely hear it in their room. My broker told me, hey, it's just a low battery thing. So I thought he unplugged it or just took care of it or put a battery in or whatever. And this was Wednesday. And then on Monday, I get a call. Hey, your fire alarm is still beeping from my tenant. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I thought this was taken care of. And I'm like, you know what? I call the National Fire people, and I'm talking to them about getting signed up, and I'm like still wishy-washy on it. I'm like, whatever. I'm like, let me just go over here myself and figure it out. So Dummy John gets over there and low battery. So I'm like, okay, cool. Low battery, no problem. I see there's like these 2 mini batteries. I'm like, let's just unplug the batteries and turn this bitch off, right? Let's just be done with it for now, and I can get out of here. So I unplug the batteries and I unplug the last terminal from the last battery. And now the actual fire alarm starts going off. And I don't need to tell anyone here how loud a fire alarm is because it's really loud. And then I'm just going, oh my God, now what did I do now? What did I do now? And to be honest, I forget how I turned it off. I literally was just hitting a bunch of buttons, and then it stopped it. I'm like, okay, great. But now there like is another beeping noise and another code from it being disconnected from the batteries. And now there's that beep, beep. And then inside the building itself, there was a nasty, nasty, nasty noise. It was like, meh, meh. And then with both of these noises going off, I'm sitting there trying to figure it out. Go back in the room. There's a code written on the box. I go back to the panel. I'm calling these people, the National Fire people. I'm calling them. They're closed. I get their answering service. And I'm literally just sitting here. I got my boy with me. He's like, man, make it stop, Dad. This is annoying. I'm like, ugh. I hear the tenants next door. Up, John's here. He's touching the fire alarm. So finally, I get the thing to just stop the extra beeping, and now it's just doing the normal beeping. And I then left a message to the fire people and said, hey, come out here, do whatever, help me out, fix it, I'll sign up, blah, 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 blah. And then they did. They got me on the schedule. The next morning, which was yesterday, they came out and they kind of at least jerry-rigged the system to stop that beeping for now. I wanted to see if they were going to actually come out and how reliable they were before I did sign up with them. So this is kind of a test. They passed. It worked. It makes sense. We need to have this to keep our insurance active, to keep my tenant's insurance active, and it is part of the Sun City Code that this type of building has to have a fire alarm, an active working fire alarm system in there. So signed up with them. It's like, again, I don't know, $100 a month or something like that, where it's just like, okay, add it on, right? So again, that takes about what is that, $16,000 of value off the building. Not too bad, right? But you say that 10 times and you know, there you are, 160 G's less. Little fiasco type stuff, right? That just, this is real estate, pretty normal activity. It's been a while since I've been there. I also wanted to go there anyways to check out the custom glass that got broken during our due diligence phase. I went and inspected that before I paid. I did post a picture on Instagram of the glass. Looks great. $1,500 for 5 little panes that are like the size of a piece of paper. So was it 8.5 by 11, something like that? That's a lot. but they were the only people I could find that would even do it. So whenever they said it was $1,500, I was like, honestly, cool, whatever. Let's just get it fixed. And that dummy cracky that broke in to get his bike back cost me $1,500 probably for a $20 bike. But so be it. It is what it is. I'm just happy that it's done. The company was great to work with. They did leave. They reinstalled the plywood from the inside, and they put more fucking holes in my trim that is just like this ornate trim, which really ticked me off because it's just like, dude, where's your fucking brain at, man? You fixed the window, and here you are drilling more holes into this ornate trim work, dude. That was my only complaint. Whatever at this point, no big deal. So that's pretty much Thunderbird in a nutshell. We're at 20 minutes already. I'll have to talk about this at another time. So I haven't talked a lot about my pool business. I've been doing that for about 2.5 years now. With real estate real estate's a very cyclical, very volatile business, if you will. And I've been in it for, this is my 6th year now. So having reliability in my life was very, very important. And that's why I started that pool business, and it did great. It was a true joy. It filled a void in my life that we definitely needed to get some stability and reliability. And I actually made decent money doing it. I almost made 6 figures working a couple days a week. I've been toying with selling it lately, which sounds like a stupid idea because it is that reliable income that I do so need. However, the fulfillment on that job is very, very taxing, and I like the overall business. However, cleaning pools is a lot of work. It is a lot of work. I sub out all of my repairs just to save more time, and I can focus on real estate. But the fulfillment of this job is what really has been killing me physically, and the time, right? Like, it is only 2 days a week for about 5 to 6 hours a day, but I'm starting really early. By the time I'm done, I get home around noonish, and I'm wiped, dude. It's like a full-blown workout. My legs hurt, my shoulders hurt. So it's not official yet, but I am selling my pool business. I do feel I've been thinking about this for a very long time, and it has been something that I was pretty dead set on a few months ago. But now, again, of course, it's February in Arizona, so the weather's just beautiful. It's amazing, right? Cleaning pools in the summertime when it's 112 degrees is pretty much the worst thing on earth. It's just so dang hot and dehydrating. I get heat stroke every day. So I feel like if this was summertime, I wouldn't be so hesitant to sell, but I found a buyer a while back, and he's been blowing me up on it. And really funny, I was texting a good friend, Danny, former business partner, Danny Benjamin. What's up? I was like, hey, I got a guy that wants to buy my pool business, but I'm just a little afraid to sell it. And literally, the dude that wants to buy my pool business called me, and I'm not even kidding. I was walking to my car, and by the time I got into my car and started driving away, that guy called me. So we're talking less than 2 to 3 minutes. Impeccable. I have a feeling it's a sign from the universe telling me that it's time to sell. So really tough decision. I still feel very weird about it. What I told him on the phone was, dude, let me do some soul searching, and I'll let you know. I thought about it, and then ultimately I'm not interested in getting any more accounts. I'm not interested in growing it. I'm not interested in hiring somebody and managing a pool route. It's a shame because that business can make a lot of money. I did make a lot of money, barely working. However, I just don't feel like it's something for me, and I believe that there is something else out there that I could replace that income with. Reliable business that probably has less fulfillment, less labor-intensive fulfillment would be something that makes sense. Now, I don't know what that would be. However, at this point in time, I sent a message to Justin this morning and said, hey, I'm ready. Let's meet. let's rock and roll. So I'll do a whole nother podcast on and I did kind of talk about this maybe in December about active income and passive income and everything like that. So I want to do another one on that as kind of things progress on that. But especially once these both of these assets get cash flowing, or if we sell one of them, then that pool income is going to get dwarfed by this cash flow. I mean, dwarfed, that's not true at all. It will be less important overall. So that's kind of where I'm at. I'm going to miss that business. I very, very grateful for it. It's done so much for my family. It has been a blessing to have. However, wow, it sounds so weird saying it, but yeah, it's got to go. And it's just one of those things at this point in time. And of course, guys, like anything else, if I missed it so much and it was this big part of my life and there's a big void when I don't have this pool business, I can always do it again. I have many ideas inside the pool industry that I would do. That does not include cleaning pools on a weekly basis. So again, I'll save all of that for another video. I have a lot of ideas floating around in my head, but I feel like that is an overall good place to stop. We're at that 26-minute mark. I'm always trying to be at least under 30 minutes. So, boys and girls, appreciate you listening. Thank you very much. If you have listened to this and you like it, leave me a review, please. Those reviews go a long, long way. And one of those, or you liked it and you know of somebody that would like this podcast, please do me a favor and share that with them. Pause the episode right now, top right corner, share, text message it to somebody. Hey, I really think you like this goofball John here, watching him flounder around and struggle a lot and lose a bunch of money. No, I'm not losing money yet. Yet is the operative word. So I would really appreciate that. That's how these podcasts can grow. I'm terrible at marketing it. I still haven't made a single post on Facebook or Instagram about it. I have friends to this day that find out I'm doing a podcast and they're like, whoa, that's crazy. You have a podcast? I didn't know. So like 6-7 months deep now into this thing. No, not quite that. 5-6 months deep. Gosh dang, shame on me. So share the podcast with some friends, leave me a review, send me a message, ask me some questions, let me know what you want to go over on commercial real estate. Would love to get some feedback on that. I got one message last week, guys, so let's see if we can double that up and get 2 messages this week. Follow me on Instagram, john.kleisch. I do post pictures on there of cool things that I'm doing, a lot of commercial real estate reels and pictures and quick little updates on behind the scenes type stuff that I don't talk about on this podcast. So, all right, boys and girls, really appreciate you. Thank you very much. Episode 25 is in the books. On that note, take her easy.